Hi, everybody. The Meta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. Well, I know it's been a while. There was a couple long stories in this thing, so it just time went by. I swear I'm not going to be doing the month-long gaps between this shit anymore. Trying though. Granted, stuff might change next month. I'm really whatever. Point is, last video we started 2012, so I'm still in January 2012. Let's get these stories out. Let's see what they are. Starting with Later by Durandall. Um, Durandall is an author I've talked about many times before. He showed up a lot on this list. He, I love his work. Sadly, he passed away, so we won't get any more. But this is one of his complete stories. Another Haruhi one that takes place over 15 years after high school, and it's mainly about a reconnection between Haruhi and Kyon after that long time period. It's a much more down to earth story with basically just one or two supernatural moments of supernatural craziness, but that makes it all the more relatable. It really makes the emotional punch of just people who are very close to each other and then just separated harshly, seeing each other again and feeling for each other again after so long. Uh, this honestly feels like it could just like you could turn this into a script for a romantic movie very very easily. And I would it's one that I would really enjoy. It's another again like this is just one of his. I feel like it's one of his better stories. It's complete. It's coherent. It's just lovely. His author is one that I love so much. I highly recommend this if you like some more grounded and more mature drama of Haruhi fan fiction, and it's definitely gonna stay on my list. Number two is Hungover Waffles by Racke. And this is another Haruhi story from a different author, but another author that I enjoy quite a lot. This one is instead of a longer take, this is more just a fluffy one shot single scene that manages to pair up most of the main cast rather nicely with some hilarious dialogue that's come from a hungover Kyon. It's a simple, light piece of sweetness that will brighten your day and definitely indulge your sweet tooth. I enjoyed it a lot. It's gonna stay on my list. Now here is the fucking mess. That is why the story took so long. This video is taking so long. This one's called Ashikabi no Shinobi by the Engulfing Silence. This is a Naruto crossover with Sekirei, where Naruto is immortal and just years after canon and so on. Then eventually the elemental nations, I guess, disappeared and became regular Earth, and time moved on, and now he ends up in Tokyo when the Sekirei game shows up. Uh, God, I will fully admit that this thing is a complete story that is 650k words, and that word length just really intimidated me because I was like, I not intimidated in the sense that it scared me. It was more just like, God, this is so long, and I have a feeling like that I'm not gonna enjoy this story, and that kept making me push this off day after day, before I finally got in and started reading it. Uh, so the main setup is basically one of the more common Sekirei types, Sekirei fic types that are probably on my list. I don't know if it's more common in the general Sekirei fanfic base, but of the ones that I've read, it's definitely more common. Where it's an OP protagonist basically replaces Minato as the main character, and the main distinction it has here is that it's mainly played completely straight. Um, a lot of the ones that I remember reading of these, usually Shiro from Fate Stay Night is there, but a lot of those will take it in a more comedic route. This one plays it more straight, and if I remember, there's a couple more Naruto ones that I've done similar to this, like Naruto Sekirei ones that are similar where they're straight. And so, that means the tone of the story is much more drama focused with smaller bits of comedy, and the fact that the comedy is not the main focus makes a large difference because the weight and the draw of the story becomes from This one comes from just Naruto trying to open up at his heart again after being a cold ass bitch who only cares about one night stands and stuff because everybody dies after so many years. And it does work a little. It's just so goddamn slow. This thing is so long and it makes you feel it, and because it just goes so goddamn slowly. Like I've stated before that I used to be of the opinion that more is better, and if the author has written a lot and there's like hey an author that writes a 10K chapter, the story must be better than an author that writes a 6K chapter. So like that's what I used to think, and that was always my mentality. And I've knocked some stories off my list for not going deep enough into like character motivations or character monologues and like introspection. But this one seemed to just go way too much in the other direction. It feels really overwritten, and it takes so goddamn long to go from point A to point B. And it doesn't help that like it felt bored just reading the standard drama bits. Uh, I'll admit that like I said, I was biased against this story from the start, but it never sucked me in, even after I read more than a fifth of this story. You know, I don't think it's bad. I did jump quickly because like I was not feeling it, and I knew it was not going to be on my list, but I felt like okay, I want to say this. Let me jump to the end, see what kind of stuff there is, and there is some interesting plot points that show up very much later, and some like the fight scenes are there, but it's all backloaded. Like the first half, I want to say, is all just like getting to know you bits where and Naruto gradually opening up, but it's so slow, and like I said, it's not comedy focused. There's long stretches where it's all meant to be taken seriously, and it's just not that interesting to me. Maybe somebody else is there, and if you can get past that first part, you might find an okay story. Um, but for me, this is just not for me, and I'm gonna take this off my list. All right, number 4, I think, is Oops by Michael Suave. And this is a Harry Potter comedy fic that's a time travel focus, that sadly was put on hiatus years and years ago, and has not been continued. But it's super fucking great. I really enjoy this. It has a small, very like a small comedy of errors kind of storytelling where his Harry's impulsiveness leads from one thing to another, and he just decides to roll with it and embrace the stupidness and the ridiculousness that he ends up doing. It's one of the ones that I wish I had continued, but there's still a shit ton of humor in this package, that and a lot of jokes and a lot of implications that are super fun for me. I really enjoyed this, and it's gonna stay on my list. Next is Damn Wizards by Sprinter 1988, and this is a sequel to a one shot this author wrote. Um, the one shot was on my list, and I had said it's not that one shot was basically more of a prompt rather than a story in its own right. So I took that one shot by off my list by itself. Uh, this one is obviously like connected to that, where this takes place. He left in that one shot. He left basically. I think it was the fifth year he left, and then this takes place like 15 years later, where Harry's become the new prime minister of Britain. And then from there, he basically gives the Wizarding World an ultimatum, and then crushes Voldemort and makes everything better for everybody. Pretty simplistic and straightforward tale, which spends more time needling the wizards than solving the war, implying that hey, solving the war was a piece of cake. You guys are just fucking incompetent. Um, if you want a simple tale of Harry bringing the wizards out into the open, you'll be happy with this. However, the fact that it is so like simple and straightforward makes it not very cathartic. If you want like to just the wizards to really get theirs, because it all just blah blah blah. There's no real like gotcha like get like moments of that. Um, and one of the other like bigger problems I had like was just like I guess you could say it's a minor one, but like the biggest problem I had was like how Harry got the prime minister job so quickly, as like the author clearly states, oh yeah, Like, how did he do it? Well, he showed up here and then he just started, potioning all the people and putting compulsion charms on his party to make him bigger and bigger and just use magic to manipulate all the people. And then, it says, like, and since it all worked out fine, it becomes a non issue. And I found it concerning because the only other character, fictional character, that comes to mind off the top of my head immediately that used similar tactics is the Master from Doctor Who. And that's not a good comparison to make to your hero. It also didn't feel great because Harry's constantly like yelling at the wizards, like saying like, "How you guys treat everybody's, you endanger the public and you treat them so like second class citizens, or like they don't matter." But Harry's literally fine with just drugging everybody and like getting everybody to where he needs to be because he's obviously knows best. So it's important if he does it, but if anybody else does it, that's bad. You're taking advantage of people. Like it's it didn't that this behavior along with the aforementioned simplicity kept me from really getting into enjoying this story a lot, so it's not going to stay on my list. All right, next is Promises of a Wandering Hero by Neo Alpha, and this is a Love Hina crossover with Fate Stay Night. um and basically, so this is after the Grail War. Shiro goes around a bit, studies with Tosaka at Clock Tower, stuff like that, and then eventually he decides he wants to learn at Todai. And while coming back, learns that he was actually Urashima Keitaro, and his granny's got an inn for him to run. Um, so the characters and the universes here mesh rather well, and the character drama here is actually really top notch. Like, while the story is much more action heavy than standard Love Hina fare, I feel it keeps the focus on the characters, which is what I feel a Love Hina story should do. There's other stories like Contract Labor, which I previously removed because that one just ended up it had a lot of action and ended up focusing more on just like it ended up focusing on like world building and like conspiracies and stuff like that, and it turned it into like a fucking shonen manga with like secret bosses from all around the corner instead of just keeping it character drama based. And that's why I feel here like keeping the focus on the Shiro and the girls keeps the investment high and allows for the humor to still be present. While it's not complete, this story has gone on for a while. This author has taken large breaks between updating, and hell, it was just updated of May of 2020. So I really still have hope that this thing will keep going. There's been a couple arcs that have been super fun, and especially like I said, like I like the character drama and how the girls from Fate play are like interacting and like playing off the girls from Love Hina and the stuff like that. I just really really enjoyed this. I hope it continues, but even so, even if it didn't, like there's still like 2 or 3 complete arcs here that are really fun, and it's gonna stay on my list. All right. And finally, we got another pretty damn long fic that also pushed this video's date. With You by My Side by Hermie Hugs. And this is a Harry Potter story where basically the difference is Harry is character. Okay, so the difference that the author implies via the summary is that Harry is basically Hermione 2.0. And that would be okay, so that would lead to Harry and Hermione connecting and making a stronger friendship, and maybe him be not having other friends, like he stays away from Ron and stuff. Like you'd think that'd be the end, but no, there's a shit ton of other minor changes in here that are not explained why, and the bigger problem is that basically makes all the character conflict disappear. Like the Dursleys are perfectly fine, normal, and honestly, they're almost like not like super affectionate, but they are affectionate to Harry because we see him with them for like a couple chapters, and they're like Vernon's even like, "Oh, you like reading? Oh, I'm proud of you," and like stuff like that. And then there's also the fact that Snape is like perfectly fine. Like he right before the year starts, he like says one thing and then gets yelled at by McGonagall, and then afterwards he's just okay. He's a strict teacher, but he doesn't go after Harry. He doesn't insult Harry. So like that drama's gone. That drama's gone. Harry's also super like focused on studies and stuff, so he doesn't go explore. So he doesn't get himself involved with the dragon, Hagrid's dragon. He doesn't get involved with the looking for the Philosopher's Stone. He doesn't like these. He doesn't go into Quidditch, and it's like, okay, all this shit is gone. What else am I supposed to fucking read? There's nothing fucking happening. Like, the other stuff that built is like maybe the it's just like meant, I guess, meant to be cute, and how they're getting along, but it's not interesting. It's not even that like adorable or anything. It's just fucking boring. The story is just super goddamn dull because they took away all the drama. Like, I think that like maybe I couldn't even get past it. Like, literally I got up to I read like 10 chapters of this, and in that 10 chapters nothing fucking happened, and it's like the author was like teasing you that like, oh yeah, you remember all these interesting points that even might have thrown some kind of drama in it. Yeah, they happened off screen, or like Harry's not dealing with it, and it's just blah blah blah, and it's just like it's like he's taunting you with how much he's not giving you. I just got super frustrated and bored as hell reading this goddamn thing. And it'd be like if the first Harry Potter book came out, like Philosopher's Stone, and Harry basically did nothing but had a perfectly normal life, and then just sat there in classes and did stuff, and then all of a sudden was just dragged into the only time any kind of conflict happened was like the last two chapters where he's dragged to get the stone. And if that had happened, I don't think the Harry Potter books would have been anywhere near as big as they are. Not even like a quarter, or even like I don't think we would have Harry Potter movies if that's how the books were written. And this is just fucking dull and frustrating as hell. It's complete, and that's the thing, but I did not care. It just bored me to tears, and I'm not keeping this on my list. Alright, and there we go. Another 7 stories read. Going through all of January and starting into February of 2012. And I'm also ending it in January of 2021, sorry, my bad. But yeah, so there we go. Fanfiction status time. We have now read 668 stories. 330 of them have stayed on my list. So there you go. As always, I leave links to all these stories in the description below, so if you want to see them and then comment that I'm an idiot, please feel free. That, oh no, my taste is trash, or what, this story was really good, why did you not have the patience to deal with it? Feel free to leave me a comment, or like or dislike on the video. And subscribe if you want to get notified when these things come out, because I have had a very fucking weird schedule since the 2-year anniversary. So please, that is the only way you're going to get to know when these come. Also, I stream, so hey, check me out on Twitch, where I will occasionally, I'll play games. Sometimes I'll be good, sometimes I won't be. And then you can see me occasionally. If a fanfic really pisses me off, I'll start yelling about it, like I did with Hermie Hugs. I stream, and then I put the VODs onto the channel as well, so you can take them out. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, or even giving this a look, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.